Hey guys, welcome back. So in this lecture, we're going to understand the request versus response terminology. So we know the request, which is the send by the API, and the response come from the backend or from the server. But how it looks, how it works in Cypress. So that's what we're going to see in this lecture. So before we go to our VS Code, let's see in Postman. So I think you're all familiar with the Postman. Here is our one of the requests. It's a single user request, same API we're using. It's a, you can say it's a same API, single user user 2. This is the API and it's a gate method. And this part is sending, is used to send your request. If you click on send, you will get the response at the bottom up here, where it shows the main part is the body in a JSON format, where you can see this is there's a data object where there's a single user ID. The element it comes with the data object. It's ID, email, first name, last name, avatar. There's a support object and so on. And there is a cookie part and there's a header part. Those things comes in, and also with the status code. This is the part of the response. So Postman is a very famous tool for API testing. It's a GUI level tools that you can see visually. But how about the Cypress? Can you see something like that, like sending your request and receiving? I mean, we can see it, but you have to write a code. Over here, we don't have to write a code in Postman, but in Cypress, we have to see the output, the response, we have to write a code. We'll see that part now. Let's go to our VS Code. So in our VS Code, here is our API test project, and underneath this, I just created one spec file. It's an API cy.js, and here, it will be the format. It's going to be exactly the same. We know this Mocha framework format, like describe and eat block. So we'll type describe, but before the describe, let's put the reference part. Put the reference types, so that we get auto suggestion reference type, and then describes. So we know the describe block. So we have a two part, right? One part, it's like your test suite, right? So you will say learn, or we'll say learn REST, say API, REST API testing, okay, with Cypress. Just I'm giving you, this is the describe, and then describe block will have another argument, which is the function, right? This is the function, right? You have to give a function, right? And inside the describe block, all of your test cases goes up here underneath the eat block, right? So let's create another eat block. So I'm just creating one eat block. Eat block also, the format is same. There will be two arguments. One is like title, another one will be the function, right? So I'll say example, I'll say my first test, okay, something like that. And another one, and you can, and for the function, you can write again function both way. One is arrow function, another one is your enormous function, right? So like this or this, it's totally up to you, which one you can use. Okay, and here we're going to, so now the first things we have seen in our Postman, the first things we have to send our request, right? So you have to always send your request, like your API call. You have to make API call so that you can get a response from your server, from your backend. So to send your request, in Cypress, we have the method is called request method. So request method always used to send your HTTP call, HTTP request. Okay, and here where will be the, so it means, here example, here I'm sending get request, and then you have to give it your endpoint. Similarly, I have to give it, so make a request, I have to give it endpoint, right? And request method by default make a get request, HTTP get request if you don't mention that. Okay, so here in our, if you remember that in our Cypress config up here, we have a base URL. So which, this is the base URL. Okay, this is the base URL. And if you go to our actual, this is our API, the API up here, the single user. So this is the this is the base URL, and this is the the request part. This is the actual request part, like resource. This is our resource with API user /2, right? And as a response, we're expecting, this is the response, like data object, it will be the one single user's ID, email, first name, last name, and so on, right? So let's get back up here. So here, that's why so CUI request, we have to pass our endpoint. So endpoint would be the slash. As soon as you put the slash, it will get the request, like base URL. So your base URL in up here. So this base URL, this part, and will append. You can add rest of the part. So what's the rest of the part? Rest of the part, it's API /user /2, right? As per our document they give up here, right? Up here, API users 2, right? So this is our full endpoint. So after the endpoint, as soon as you send the endpoint, then if you click on since we don't have a tool like Postman, we have to execute the code. As soon as you execute the code, it will hit the server, and then it will get some response. So to receive the response, in Cypress we have to use .then method, then function. So .then function will receive the response from the server. So here, so this is the then function. So in the then function, let's provide a variable. So it is the variable just what will receive the response. Okay, so any variable you can give, but usually give a meaningful name of the variable, since this variable job will to receive the response data. So I will give a same name, response, giving a variable name is response, right? And this is the function, right? And then this is the body of the then function. And up here now, if you want to, so this response variable have the knowledge about all the response data. Now if you want to see the output, like up here, like in a Postman, that you can see the output like response body. So to see the response or output, we can we can print the output. We can use the site.log. We can say site.log, and then we can use JSON method. JSON, since its response comes as a JSON format, JSON dot, we can string, we can call the stringify method. So stringify method we can call. So if you hover your mouse, what it does, it's convert JavaScript value to a JavaScript object, right? It's convert to JavaScript value to a JavaScript object in a string format, so that from there we can read the the response as the human readable format. Okay, so that's what called using this method. And now in this method we'll apply what? Apply in this response variable. So you can pass a response variable. Okay, pass a response variable, and from the response, this in a response you have a body, in a response you have a header, you have a response, you have a status. So what exactly you want to see, if you want to if you want to mention up here, because this response variable have the knowledge your entire response. So if I say say body, so it means it will show as the as a print, it will print the response body part. Okay, so if you want, and similarly we can see the, let me put the we can put the response, say header part, right? So in that time you can see just response, header headers. Okay, let me save it, then run it. Same way, just open your test runner, click on up here, finger cross API. Here we go. This is my first test. This is the test. This is the test body. This is the request is passed. This is the log. This is the first log. You can see this is the response body where it has the data object. It has the ID, email. You can see this is the value of the email, first name, last name, avatar, all those things. Exactly the same response if you go to, whether you go our the Postman, here is the data object in a response body, ID, email, first name, last name. As well, if you go there, applications, this is their API, and this is the resource of their API. Here's a singles, and as a response we're expecting, you can see this is the data object, right? This is the ID, exactly the same. Okay, this is the way you are going to know the response. You can know the response of your request. And apart from there, I have a document. About the all of our the API we're going to use. This is only the one, this API we're going to use. Along with the API, the base URL, you will get what's the resources, because resources is the appended part, right? And then what's the what would be the request type using this endpoint. This is like get, post, you can see. And then request body, when you do a post request or put request, you have to pass some data along with the body, right? And as a result, as a response, what are you supposed to receive? What the successful response, what should be the successful response, what should be the status code. So I create this document. I'll share the document, and this kind of document you also in real life you're supposed to get this document also from your API developer. This is called a contract document. So before you start your testing, your API testing, your API developer, they should give you one document that's called contract document. And this contract document, they should give you everything, like what would be the base URL, what would be the resource URL, what would be your total, your final endpoint, like your base plus your resource should be the endpoint. What would be the what type of HTTP request you should use, and what are you supposed to see in the response, what are you supposed to pass through your request body, and so on. And even sometimes they can give you even that's the validation code, like the code we're writing, that part sometimes they give. Okay, it's really depends on them, but minimum things they will give you all about your API endpoint details, response statuses, everything. Okay, so we can use this one, but beside we have this the API, it's also up here. You will see the response status code along with the response data also up here. Okay, but in your Cypress, using the Cypress, you can see this like this. You can write your code, you can use the scilog, then you can see the response in details. You can see the response body, you can see the response, you can see the next part is the response header. You can see the header is a header, they have a content type, and this is the value application JSON. It's not, this header is not given up here, but you can easily find the header also. You can just print any part of any object of your response. Okay, in a Postman API, you can see this, there is a header too. You can see header, there's a content, and this is the value of the content. You can see application JSON. Exactly, we can get the response also, the header part also up here. This is the line, it's print the header from the body. You can see header, right? A content tab, application JSON, select JSON, right? This is the header part. So you can get any part, even you can get one specific part from the body. We know the body have a ID, body have a one key is underneath the body it's a data. Inside the data there is a first name, there is a let's go over up here again. So data is the main object, and inside there is an ID, email. Those are the key and value format, right? Key and value. So you can get those specific. You can say, you can even, let me show you, log response body, and that time if you want to get any specific value from a key of your response body, you have to give the right path to be there, right? So that your code can be reached in that point. So we're saying that from the response, from the body dot, and then it's a data is the first top object from the data. And how about email? If you put the email, okay, they have an email too. They have an email too, right? So here you can see from the data, there's an ID, there's an email. So if you want to see the only the value of the email, print the value of the email, they can do it, right? So rerun it. Let's go to the third one. You can see log, this is the value of the email. It shows you. Okay, so this is about the to send you request, we are using a request method again, and to receive it, as soon as we put the dot, then it's received the responses. Okay, from your from the backend, from your database. Okay, and then you can use this one, puts in a variable, and use this one as a, but also one important, to get any specific value from your response body, you have to follow the path. You have to follow the path. What would be the path? Okay, so example, if you don't know, here is a very clear to get the path. What would be the path? But if you don't know, or you feel like the path is very complex, that time there is another application. Let's close this one. Let me go there. It's called JSON Pathfinder. So JSON Pathfinder up here, here is your data ID, everything. So if you just copy example, they will give you, right, since your where is that? Oh, your developer will give you what we're supposed to receive. So they will give you this response. Okay, so if you copy this response, if you don't know exact path for a specific point, that time you can get the path using this JSON Pathfinder. You get the response, copy the response, and paste it up here. You can see paste it up here. And then example, now if you put it has a two main you can say the object, data and support, and inside each and every object you have a key and value, right? Attribute and value, right? Or property value. Those are the different properties. So if you want to retrieve any properties value in through your code, you have to give the right path. So to get the path after your example from the data, so on the right side, if you select email or say first name, so what would be your path? Your path would be data.first name. It means response.data.first name. Similarly, if you get an email, data.email. So in your code, it have to be response, then it have to be definitely, you have to use the body, because it's a email is a part of the body, then data.email. Okay, so this is just giving you the clue how we can find the right path, because if you don't put the right path, it will not give you the right value. Okay, so this is all about your request and the response for the API testing. Thank you.